Not every piece of gear gets me excited. Many are just a rehash of something that I've already heard, I've already used. But the Valeton GP-5, well, this little unit is different. This compact little box kept me playing for hours because the tone was actually usable and inspiring to me. So I wanted to share this with you guys today because I think this little unit could get you to a place where you probably couldn't imagine yourself being for this kind of money. Now, for those of you out there that don't know, the GP-5 is a very affordable little unit packed with great features. It has over 100 high quality effects built in. Things like drums, you have a tuner, you have support for 9 simultaneous modules or effects at the same time. You have a virtual pedal board where you can have 10 effects loaded up. You have a neural amp modeler, which is loaded right in here. And I'll share with you where you can find some really cool free files to use with this device at the end of the video. It also offers cabinet IR loading, full color display here, LCD. It's small, but it's very functional. And it also works as a digital interface. So if you're looking at recording on your PC or laptop, this one will be able to do that via USB-C. What's interesting is when you're in recording mode with the USB-C adapter attached, you don't need an additional 9-volt power supply or plug, which is a nice plus. And finally, you can also edit and control all of the effects on the unit with a very handy mobile app that is made by Valeton and connects to the unit via Bluetooth. With that app engaged, you'll be able to tweak your patches. You can reassign your foot switches on here. You could load new amp models, save your patches, rename them, all that great stuff that you normally will have to do anyways, all from the convenience of your mobile phone or tablet device. It'll even let you adjust input recording levels for when you're recording with this unit, monitoring levels when you're using it as a USB interface. And it's genuinely flexible, especially for players recording at home. And I do a lot of that, so I really like the convenience of this little guy. Now, let's get something clear right off the bat. I know you guys are going to ask this. No, the Valeton GP-5 does not include a built-in looper. I know that might be a little bit of a letdown for some of you guys, especially if you're using loopers and you like looping functionality, but I think all of the other cool functions and features built into this unit offers a lot more and really outweighs that missing feature in my opinion. Now, I haven't even talked about tone yet. I know you guys are itching to hear what it sounds like. Let's have a look at a few patches and see what they can do. Now, you can edit all of the patches directly from the unit. Of course, it has a very colorful screen, but it's quite small. So if you're a little bit nearsighted, you might feel more at ease doing all of this from the editor that you can use from your phone or your tablet, whatever device you're playing with. So to do that, you have to start off by hitting the connect button, which is basically holding the parameter button here on the right. You have to just make sure you're not in a edit mode. Then you're going to see that the unit is going to start to flash, showing that you're in your connection mode here. Go to your app, select the unit, click on connect device, and in a matter of seconds here, it's going to load up patch number 5, which happens to be called Pure Clean. And we're going to listen to that. Now, once you're in the actual patch, you can see all of your pedals. You can see everything that's engaged or disengaged. In this particular case, everything that is grayed out is not being used right now. Everything that's colored or lit up is being used. So for example, distortion is not being used. We have the noise reduction or noise gate on. We have a pre a basic compressor on. We have the amp, the cab, the EQ, modulation, delay, and reverb right now. So right now we're looking at the EQ settings because we have EQ selected here, and at the bottom of the screen you see that we do have guitar EQ1 as the setting we're working with, and everything is basically set flat. So if we listen to the EQ as is, it's gonna sound like this. So right off the bat, I hope you can hear how great the modulation effects sound, how great the delay and the reverb sounds. I really like this unit because those sounds are great, and that's usually where units like this fall short. This one sounds fantastic. Now, before we look at the modulation effects, we're in the EQ effect here. So we can play around with the settings here. So if I just strum... So depending on how bright I want to make it, so whether I want to scoop it or make it a little bit more pushed as a sound, I can play around with all of these settings directly and then save that. Let's say I like that and I like the way that is sounding. All I need to do is hit the little save icon at the top and just hit save once again, and the patch is saved now with the EQ on with these particular settings. Now let's move over to the modulation effects. Right now the modulation is a phaser, and I think that phaser sounds really nice. But let's say you want to go to a chorus. We can go to the chorus pedal here and hear what that sounds like instead. We can bring up the rate here a little bit more. Or we could play with the tone. And if we want to turn that off, we just have to hit the modulation effect button to turn it off completely. Now the delay and the reverb sound particularly nice here. The reverb we have selected is a plate reverb. Let's go ahead and choose something a little different. Maybe we can do just a regular hall reverb there instead. So that reverb is not as lush, so you can hear it dies out. Now, if you want to give the sound a little bit more brightness, we could turn on the bright option here within the amp. And that makes things a whole lot more bright, as you can tell. It gives the sound just a little bit more room. Now, if we turn back the modulation and go back to maybe the phase, or let's do the M vibe, hear what that sounds like. Let's make sure that's on. Okay, turn that back off. Let's go to a different sound here. I think we spent enough time on this clean sound. Let's go to, and by the way, you can see here all of the different patches you have available to you. We have 50 patches, well 49 to be exact, and then starting from 50 onwards, they're empty, so you can fill those up with whatever you like. So let's go to the first patch here called Great Pedal. If we changed any of the settings on the previous patch, we're going to get a warning to say that if we go to the next one without saving, we're going to lose the patch settings. So, you know, we can just cancel that. That's fine. We have great pedal loaded up, which is more of a high gain sound. Let's hear what that sounds like. I love that sound. You can hear there's a little bit of a ping pong delay as I cut that off. Sounds great. The amplifier we're using here is a Mesa dual rectifier or a dual amp based on their own type of emulations. There's a large cab used here as well, and it sounds fantastic. Just love those ping pong delays and modulation sounds. So what can we play with here? Well, the distortion, we can change that. We're using a green overdrive, which is basically a tube screamer, but we can change that to a yellow overdrive. I think you guys know what that is. There's no lack of squeals with that particular overdrive if you want to play around with that one. What else can we play with? There's a plus distortion. Let's hear what that sounds like. Really nice. I think you're gonna have a lot of fun with these effects. All right, let's listen to something else. Let's go on to maybe, what do they have here? There's hard rock, there's UK fuzz, we have US lead, we have 70 Britain, we have some tweed sounds. I mean, a lot of choice here. There's something called Eddie Solo. Gonna have to try that. I don't know what that is. So let's just go to that one. All right, so this is a kind of a straight ahead solo sound. Sounds great. There's no delay. There's some modulation, some reverb. The reverb in here is a hall. I kind of prefer to go with something like a plate. So let's try the plate instead. That sounds pretty good to me. Now, if we want to change things up, we can go to the EQ here and we can change the settings so that we can play around with different effects. Maybe bring down some of the frequencies here just a little bit. Let's... I like it. That already sounds so good. Of course, playing with the EQ is going to get you most of the way there. If you want to play around with the cabinet settings, you can do that as well. Here you're using an EV412 cab, but then you have a whole bunch of other cabinets to choose from here. We can go with the Solo 4x12, which is a Soldano cabinet. Let's hear how that changes the sound a little bit. So that has a little bit more lower mids. You can definitely hear that. Let's try a different cabinet. Let's try, what are we gonna try here? I'm not really sure. Let's do the UK green. I think that's a Marshall 4x12 cabinet with green backs. Now, of course, when you're using a high gain sound like this, you're probably going to want to use your noise gate. If I turn off the noise gate, that's extremely loud. So you can see how well the noise gate works with this particular patch. Let's look at one more patch and then we'll call it a day. I'm not sure which one to use here, but maybe let's do something really clean here. We'll use the Jazz Chorus 120. Definitely a lot cleaner. So this is definitely something that is modeled after a transistor amp. But you can still get a lot of flavor out of something like this just by playing around with the EQ. We can turn that on. Maybe lower some of the higher frequencies. Now, of course, with this particular sound, the modulation is going to be important because it's based on a chorus. I would like to add a little bit of delay here. And instead of using pure delay, let's use something else. Let's use ping pong. I like that. Very nice. And for the modulation, instead of chorus here, let's go with something a little bit more sweepy here. We're going to do the vibrato. That's a lot of fun, I have to say. And of course, one other thing you can do is play around with the compressor. So let's see if we add a compressor here. Just keeps on going and going and going. So overall, you can do a lot with this unit. You can also incorporate some drums. So if you want to hit the drums here, you can just select it and play it. The drums play through the speaker here. So you're going to be playing around with your unit when you're using drums. But there are a few different types of drum beats that you can play with here, mostly for practicing and whatnot. Some of them are pretty cool. And if we want to do the Bluetooth audio, you have to connect to your Bluetooth settings, okay? So right now we're just gonna leave that as is. We're gonna pause that. I don't want to spend too much time on that. If you go to the global settings here, you can choose different things. You can update your firmware, make sure your device is connected. You can select your input level, your output level, record level. So if you're recording directly into something like GarageBand or Logic, you can make sure that your sound settings are set the way you want them to be. You can even go into foot switch mode here and you can assign your foot switches. You can play around with how they're being displayed, and you can do a complete factory reset right from this button at the bottom. We're not going to do that right now. We're just going to leave it as is. We also have a manage tab, and here you can go in there and ask for help if you need it. You can get your documentation. You can do all kinds of things right from here, which is something that I really like. It's thought out so well, and really they made it as simple as they could possibly have made it for you. If you hit the 3 buttons at the top, you can also import, export, or rename your patches or delete your patches directly from there. So you have complete control over how you want to manage all of this and how you want to make it more user-friendly. If you go to patch settings here, again, you can select your control settings. You can select what you want to have either on or off on your board. There's different things that you can do right from here as well, but we won't spend too much time on that because the video would just be too long. So I hope this gave you a good overview of some of the sounds. I think this unit sounds really good. So I have to be honest, when I first heard about this unit, I was skeptical, especially at this price point. I haven't seen that many devices that can do things well at this size and at that price. I was not expecting much, but I have to say it was way better than I expected. The amp models feel alive. The effects, especially the delays and the reverb, sound rich and pretty musical, I have to say. And that's usually where budget units fall short. You can usually tell where they're cutting corners with the reverbs and the delays. One of my favorite things about this device, the user manual is built right into the mobile app. So there's no more trying to figure out, if your PDF is outdated or trying to find it on some sketchy forum threads or something like that. You just tap right into it and you go. And that's pretty cool. This unit will also make an excellent backup rig for you. If your amp goes down mid-set for whatever reason, plug this into your PA, select your patches, you're good to go. You also know how much I like gear that travels well. Well, what could be easier to travel with than this? Pretty convenient, I have to say. I almost forgot to mention one other cool feature. This unit will allow you to plug in a headphone jack, stereo headphone jack, right into the output here. And you basically can use the unit as a silent practice device on the go. No more excuses for not practicing more. You know who you are. To me, the Valeton GP-5 is an outstanding gem at a very affordable price. Perfect for practice, recording, backup duty, all of that great stuff. And if you like dialing in cool tones, tweaking your tones, what's more convenient than being able to do that from your phone or your tablet? I think you guys are going to love it. I recommend you guys go try it and see for yourself. Hats off to Valeton. Seriously, I wasn't expecting to enjoy the GP-5 as much as I did, but it really did surprise me. It's rare and refreshing that a piece of gear keeps me coming back just because it's fun to play, fun to use, and easy. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video or found it helpful, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more gear to get to and explore, and I'd love to have you along for the ride. Now, before I forget, I promised you guys some links. So if you guys are looking for some very good quality neural amp modeler files, I've put a few down in the comment sections below so you guys don't have to scour the internet. They're from trusted sources, and there's a lot of free stuff there that you can take advantage of. So you can just download the files, load them up into the unit, and rock your little heart out. That's it for now, guys. We'll see you on the next one.